Sir Christopher of Luxon is still with us, and he is talking about the first responders, violence towards first responders. And the question that's asked, which is the most obvious question, that if you're going to bring in this legislation, what's it going to do? How is this going to stop offending?
As a former frontline police officer,
Yeah, so Jenny May was a frontline cop, so she's great to have this conversation with.
I get the fear and I get the anxiety around that. My question is, though, how do we know that increasing or having harsher penalties will actually stop our frontline from being assaulted?
Well, I just think we've got a moral responsibility to do what we can to make sure we are protecting them. And so, the reality is we're seeing that increasing trend. We hope that this is actually a real deterrent that stops people from doing it. There are some pretty serious consequences.
I just need the government to show us any research that says deterrents are the thing that leads to less offending. I know that when I used to work on radio, this conversation would come up all the time, and I would say to them, that therefore means the states in America that have the death penalty should be the safest states, right? Because if the deterrent is the thing that stops offending, and I haven't done this for 15 years, I'm pretty confident saying it would be similar, if not the same. All of the states with the death penalty, worse crime stats. So the deterrent did not stop the crime. Show me some research where it says it does before you spout off this bullshit again that someone in the middle of a rage or alcohol or a mental health situation or whatever it is going to go, oh, actually, no, fellow chappie, we should stop doing this because I may go to jail for 2 years longer if I hit you in the head, you fall back and crack your head. It's fantasy land stuff. It's fairy tale stuff.
5 and 7 year sentencing based on, depending on what the assault looks like. But I think it's just entirely appropriate. I think, these are people who have chosen a career that actually is pretty awesome, and we need to esteem them, we need to value them, and we don't treat...
Why don't you fucking pay them better then? You want to value them and esteem them? Why don't you fucking pay them a bit better and keep them in our country?
Them poorly like this, and we need to protect them. So, it's just coming from that. I think any Kiwi watching this would say, look, that seems about right. That's entirely appropriate. We don't want those people getting bashed.
This is the second iteration of this bill, right?
We don't want those people getting bashed. So he's actively saying they will stop getting bashed if we introduce this. Horse shit. I call bullshit, Mr. Prime Minister. And this is why this is a talking point headline. Government stops first responders getting bashed. What do the stats say? Oh, they hasn't really changed at all. But the headline after today and this interview is government wants to stop first responders getting bashed. It's a headline. It's a legislation that doesn't need to be introduced and won't be implemented. Can't be implemented.
New Zealand First bill was voted down back in 2020. And the critics of that original bill argued that harsher penalties that don't actually deter people from assaulting police or frontline people, and actually because it's being done by people who are in crisis at that time, right?
Of course.
And so the argument has always been...
Or let's not use the flowery word of crisis, or they're pissed, or they're high, or they're in a rage because their wife just left them, whatever. Lots of other reasons where you cannot be thinking straight.
That actually there needs to be some preventative measures that are put in there. So access to mental health services, drug addiction services, all of those sorts of things, because ultimately we don't want them being assaulted in the first place. This is kind of a after the fact.
Yeah, but This is just one of many things that we're doing. We're also making sure we're getting proper mental health support for call-outs so that police aren't carrying the can.
Yeah. Hang on. Some people call that defunding the police, Chewie. Are you aware of this? Getting proper mental health care out. In America, they call that defunding the police. That finances from the police would get directed to proper mental health care. Are you defunding the police, Mr. Luxon? Is that what you're talking about right now? I thought only bad people talked about defunding the police. That sounds like that's what you're talking about. Because that's what defunding the police was sending out mental health callers with police to handle the situation differently. Ah, interesting.
When most of a lot of their calls have been for mental health issues. We actually want the mental health professionals to be there, when people are really experiencing crisis. But I just don't think there's any excuse for why you shouldn't do this. I mean, I honestly don't.